Two kids are making out outside of a barn in the town of Vengerberg when they come across a purple-eyed, deformed young girl named Yennefer. Yennefer has a hump and skewed jaw and is bullied by the two kids because of her deformities. As they abuse her, Yennefer suddenly vanishes and appears at a place called the Tower of the Gull, Aretuza. There is a man named Istred here. He explains to her that she opened a portal to come here and she has magical powers, but she can't believe him. He warns her that her magic use has made her a target for other sorceresses who will come looking for her. He takes out a flower, eats it, and opens a special kind of untraceable portal for her to go home. Sure enough, once Yennefer is home, a sorceress by the name of Tisaya arrives, claiming to want to buy pigs, but she actually wants to take Yennefer. Yennefer's father is already disgusted with Yennefer, so he agrees to sell her for half the price of a pig. Her mother protests because she knows Tisaya is a witch, but the father does not care. Tisaya takes Yennefer to Aretuza. At Aretuza, Yennefer is heartbroken that her father sold her at half the price of a pig and tries to commit suicide by slitting her wrist. She is not allowed to die. She tells Tisaya she wanted to have control over one thing by killing herself, but Tisaya tells her she wasn't taking control. She was losing it. Yennefer attends her first class alongside other young women who have also shown an affinity for magic. Tisaya teaches them that to perform sorcery, they need to draw power from something. She gives them a flower and tells them to draw power from it to make a rock float. All the other students manage to move their rocks except for Yennefer. Yennefer gets frustrated and leaves. Later, Yennefer comes back to the Tower of the Gull and meets Istred, introducing herself properly. Next, Yennefer is in a class where Tisaya is teaching the students to read each other's thoughts and learn each other's greatest fears using magic. Yennefer once again struggles with the task. Frustrated, Yennefer cheats. She pretends that she has read her partner's mind and knows what her fear is, but Tisaya can tell she is lying. Tisaya reads Yennefer's greatest fear and tells her that it is true. She tells Yennefer that no one would love her even if she was a beauty. Yennefer expresses her frustration and despair to Istred. She says that she just wants to be good at something for once in her life. Istred tells her that he struggled when he was first learning at Aretuza as well and that it's okay. He allows her to read his thoughts for practice and surprisingly she manages to do it. The next night, Tisaya wakes all the young girls up and brings them to the Tower of the Gull for a new test. In this test, they have to catch lightning in a bottle. Several girls try and fail. Yennefer steps up, but she is struck by lightning and thrown back. Her body seems to absorb the lightning. The next girl steps up and manages to successfully perform the feat. Tisaya looks at her proudly and looks at Yennefer disapprovingly. Enraged, Yennefer directs the lightning at the girl, but Tisaya deflects it. Tisaya tells Yennefer that she is weak and pathetic for succumbing to her emotions. She says that ultimately all sorceresses are to serve as advisors to kings, and if she cannot control her emotions, then she is not fit for the job. Yennefer comes to Istred and tells him she is failing all the tests and will probably be sent home soon. They will never see each other again. He says they will, and she says maybe they can if he teaches her how to make the special portal he made earlier. He is hesitant because it's an older kind of magic that is not allowed to be taught. However, seeing her distraught, he changes his mind. He tells her that magic was originally taught to humans by elves. They learned it all and slaughtered and oppressed the elves to make it their own. He takes out the flower he took out earlier. He says it only grows where elven blood is spilled. He gives it to her, tells her to take a bite out of it, and say an incantation. She does, and the portal opens. Istred is shocked that she managed to do such an advanced spell on the first try and asks her how. She tells him her father was half-elf, which is why she was cursed with deformities and treated as an outcast. The man back at the barn was just her stepfather. They share a kiss. Turns out, Yennefer was working to retrieve the special flower for Tisaya the whole time. Tisaya wanted to see if Yennefer could control her emotions long enough to complete the assignment. Yennefer asks if this means she gets to ascend, meaning she gets to be placed with a king. Tisaya tells her to listen for a knock. On the other hand, Istred is also working for his superior Stregobor and tells him that Yennefer is a quarter elf. At night, Yennefer hears knocks on the rooms of her fellow students, but not on hers. She follows them and sneakily observes where Tisaya takes them. She notices Tisaya turns them into eels. Tisaya knows Yennefer is snooping and calls her down. She tells Yennefer to push the eels into the water. Yennefer figures out that they will be used as conduits for Aretuza's power. Yennefer realizes that because she is not the one being pushed into the water, that means that she has ascended and gained Tisaya's approval. She pushes her fellows into the water as Aretuza powers up. From then on, Istred and Yennefer develop a sexual relationship, and Yennefer gets much better control over her magic. She even conjures up an audience for their sexual encounter through magic. Istred wonders if they'll get to continue this thing between them. After the initiation ceremony, he will be off exploring ruins around the world, and Yennefer will be placed in the court of the king of Aedirn, her home country. She says that if she gains favor with the king, she can invite him to explore the ruins of Aedirn. She tells Istred that she is worried about the enchantment process. It is the process that turns the sorceresses into the perfect picture of beauty and erases all their flaws. She says that all the other young girls know exactly how they want to look, but she does not. She just knows she wants to go home and not be the scared girl she was before. The man who enchants the sorceresses tells Yennefer that he will turn her looks around no matter how hard it might be. Tissaia arrives and tells Yennefer that everyone has to deal with their flaws in the mirror, but not them. They can look and be however they want. Yennefer says she doesn't know where to start. Tissaia tells her to picture the most powerful woman in the world, every detail of her being. She then transfers Yennefer's thoughts to the mirror and makes her see that woman. A meeting of the chapter of Aretuza is taking place where Tissaia mentions that Yennefer is to be sent to Aedirn because she is from there and the king prefers sorceresses from his own kingdom. Stregobor says that Aedern's main trade partner hates elves, and since Yennefer is part elf, they would not be happy with her placement there. Tissaia is shocked that Stregobor knows of Yennefer's lineage, but tries to defend Yennefer regardless. However, when it comes down to a vote, everyone agrees that Yennefer should go to Nilfgaard instead, which is a lowly kingdom with a very inappropriate king. Upon hearing this news, Yennefer is enraged. She demands an audience with the chapter, but Tissaia tells her that the problem was her lineage. Yennefer asks Tissaia why she told them about her bloodline. Tissaia says she didn't, and Yennefer realizes that it was Istred. At the initiation ceremony, Istred notices that Yennefer isn't there. He goes to find her in the Tower of Gull. Yennefer is writing a deed that her stepfather can sign. It would declare her his natural-born daughter and clean up the mess about her lineage. Istred says it won't work, particularly because she missed the initiation ceremony and it's all over now. She calls him out for revealing her secret. He apologizes and says he had no idea how the information would be used. When she accuses him too much, he tells her that he knows she also spied on him for Tissaia. He says he can fix this. Yennefer can come with him and travel the world exploring ruins. Yennefer says that's his dream, and she does not wish to stand by as he fulfills it holding dustpans. This really upsets Istred because he thought Yennefer wanted to be with him. She reveals that she doesn't let him access all of her thoughts. He accuses Yennefer of being a pawn of Tissaia's. She says her world isn't as full of wonder and romance as his. He tells her no amount of beauty will help her if she keeps thinking like this. She says she doesn't want beauty. She wants power. Back at the initiation, all the young sorceresses are dancing with the kings in whose court they will serve. Yennefer goes to the wizard who enchants and tells him to start working on her. He says he needs to brew the herbs that will make her unconscious for the procedure. She says they have no time and tells him to begin immediately. He ties her to a chair and warns her that the procedure has a cost. If she goes through with it, she will never be able to have a child. She says she understands. She tells him to keep the marks on her wrists from when she tried to commit suicide and her purple elven eyes. He begins by removing her uterus, and Yennefer screams in pain. The uterus is used to make a special ink for the spell. He uses the ink to highlight the deformities on her body. The deformities begin to shift, and Yennefer's spine begins to straighten out. It is incredibly painful, and she writhes and screams in pain. She breaks her chains and falls to the floor in agony. Eventually, the process is completed and she passes out of exhaustion. Back at the initiation ceremony, Tissaia and Istred sense something, and just then doors of the room open. A gorgeous Yennefer walks into the ballroom. Everyone in the room is stunned at her beauty. She goes straight for the king of Aedirn because she knows he would prefer a sorceress from his own kingdom. She offers him her hand for a dance. Tissaia tries to interrupt, but the king is smitten by Yennefer's beauty and poise. Tissaia and the rest of the chapter of Aretuza realize that Yennefer has taken matters into her own hands, but at such a respectable gathering, they have no choice but to restrain themselves. Yennefer comfortably dances with the king of Aedirn, knowing that everyone around her is watching her every move. She relishes it. The end.